and dearest friends that I went to graduate school at the University of Alberta. I'm currently a doctoral student within the department that Sarah got her master's degree in educational policy studies. I became to know Sarah there, and it became quite clear to me at the very beginning the quote that we often hear Mahatma Gandhi say, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." I believe that Sarah is the change that we wish to see within the Edmonton Public School system. As a Board of Trustee, Sarah, in her campaign, will be the change that we wish to see within the Edmonton Public School systems. I asked my children last night, two of whom go to school within the Edmonton Public School. I asked them, what would you like me to say about Sarah tomorrow, because she's getting ready to run for Edmonton Public School Board of Trustees. They said to me, "Well, Mama, it's really important that everyone votes for Sarah." And I said, "Well, what are some of the reasons that people should be voting for Sarah?" And of course they immediately said, "Well, she's really nice." And of course my 12-year-old said, "Well, Sarah will do what the kids want for us." And some of these schools really need a lot of change. My children understand that some of the schools are being shut down, and gratefully their school hasn't been shut down. But to bar children from the schools in which they have been socialized and known for most of their little lives is a real injustice to them. And part of Sarah's campaign will to be that change that we wish to see in Edmonton Public School systems. And we want to see the schools reopened. We want our children to be able to go to these schools. And it's Sarah that has the advocacy and drive. As parents of children that attend these schools, we need Sarah. We need her advocacy, we need her determination, and we need her background and experience. So with that, I welcome Sarah to this campaign, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thanks to all of you for coming. I really appreciate it. Today I formally launch my campaign for School Board Trustee in Ward G. I want to take this opportunity to talk about the reasons I'm running and to tell you about the position and what I think I can bring to the position. I'm running for trustee because I've had a lifelong interest in education, which led me to a master's degree in educational policy studies at the U of A. My decision to run was solidified the day that the Edmonton Public Board voted to close 5 more schools in established city neighborhoods. Over the last 10 years, Edmonton Public has closed 18 schools. I'm running for trustee because I see serious problems with the way education is delivered in this province. The government is pretending that these problems don't exist, and they're neglecting education, students, and their families. No other school district in Alberta is going to the lengths Edmonton Public is to close schools. Closing schools hurts communities, and families need a stronger voice on the board. Where are the advocates for communities on the school board? Where are the advocates for kids whose friendships will suffer when schools are closed? Where are the advocates for special needs students who will struggle without proper educational supports? I don't think there are enough people standing up on these issues, and that's why I'm running in Ward G. Our current trustee, George Rice, voted to close schools, including schools right here in Ward G. We have to send the board a message, and we have to stand up for our schools. Make no mistake, the recent school closures are just the beginning. The board has 70 more schools on the chopping block potentially that they're reviewing next year, and 12 of those are right here in Ward G. One of these is the school that we're standing in front of, Holyrood. We cannot count on George Rice to stand up for this school. We cannot count on George Rice to stand up for this community or any community in Ward G. And we cannot count on the existing board to find alternatives to school closures. We need to shake things up. I won't vote to close schools. Closing schools is a lazy solution, and it's the wrong answer. If a school's enrollment drops, I'll work to help build it up by consulting with the school, the community, and the city. It may mean attracting an after-school care facility to the building. It may mean putting specialty services into the school. There are always alternatives to closures, and I will find them. When the rest of the board is silent, I will speak up when the province neglects education. When the province cuts funding, they'll hear from me. When they neglect special needs students, they'll hear from me. And when the Minister of Education says that teachers and other school staff don't deserve the wage increases that the schools have already been promised, they'll hear from me. When they revamp the School Act, I'll be watching to ensure that our schools and students are protected. Quality education is a right, and to make that a reality, we have to provide access to well-funded schools. Education is vital to society. A city that demands an educated, skilled workforce requires a quality education system. Schools are hubs where children form relationships with friends and develop ties with members of their community. Communities suffer without schools, and schools suffer without communities. It's hard to have one without the other, and that's a lesson our current board just hasn't learned yet. The school board plays a role in protecting communities. It's a role that they shouldn't ignore. We can do better. We can have a school board that builds communities instead of breaking them apart. We can fight back against provincial neglect. And we can have a school board that engages children and parents and teachers, school staff, and other community members with openness and honesty. We need to send the current school board a message, and I hope that on October 18th, you'll send that message by electing me, Sarah Hoffman, as school trustee in Ward G. So thanks to everybody for coming, and it's going to be a fun 5 months. We're going to work really hard, and we have to make sure that we knock on as many doors as we possibly can in the area, and I would love your help, and I appreciate your help today in coming here to help launch the campaign, so thanks.
Yeah. These guys